Le Nissan Kick-Split 2025 a beaucoup de plus. Apple CarPlay intégré pour jouer vos tunes préférées, des fonctions avancées de sécurité, un rendement énergétique remarquable, puis même la petite odeur de char neuf qu'on aime tant. Tout ça en plus pour moins. Le Nissan Kick-Split 2025 est le véhicule neuf le plus abordable au Québec. Achetez-le à partir de seulement 22 774 $, incluant un rabais à l'achat comptant de 2 600 $. Profitez de cette offre avantageuse chez votre concessionnaire dès maintenant. Jusqu'au 2 mars, des conditions s'appliquent. Détails chez Nissan.
All right, welcome back to the Elias Makos Show, third hour of the program. Now, it was last summer, I spent a morning on this program telling you about how over the weekend I'd gone to a really fun breakfast diner right across the border. It's called the Best Friends Family Diner right across the border in Rouses Point, New York. Now, before the break, I had said Rouses Point is a town in upstate New York. I actually upgraded Rouses Point. Officially, it's a village. 2,200 people call Rouses Point home. In fact, Rouses Point was named after a French-Canadian soldier, Jacques Rousse, that fought alongside the Americans during their war for independence. It just goes back with all the history you've got on both sides of the border. And of course, over the last couple of weeks, the tensions between Canada and the U.S., well, they've been fraught, to say the very least. With that in mind, we wanted to check in just south of the border. Go to places like Plattsburgh, go to places like Rouses Point, and find out what the people there are thinking about all of the headlines regarding tariffs and trade wars between Canada and the U.S. We head now to Shawn Childrose is on the line, who's an employee at the Rouses Point Liquor and Wine Store right there along the U.S.-Canada border. Shawn, welcome to the program.
How's it going?
I'm doing well. Tell me about yourself, by the way. Tell me about where you grew up and how you ended up working in Rouses Point.
Well, born and raised in Troy, New York, just outside of Albany. Mm-hmm. My kid's mother is from this area. Her family's from this area in Rouses Point, and during COVID, just we kind of got moved around a little bit and ended up here, and so I've been up here now, I think just over 4 years.
And
just about over 4 years now.
And what is it like to live, right next to the Canadian border? How often do you interact with Canadians? I imagine it's almost like a day-to-day basis, but why don't you get into that and the bonds that you see in a border village like Rouses Point?
Absolutely. I mean, working in the liquor store, I see a ton of Canadians every day. I mean, our business with the liquor store and being right on Lake Champlain too, a lot of Canadians keep their boats in the marinas. Uh-huh. We have 2 or 3 marinas right here in the village, and so summertime tourists, I mean, massive, amounts of Canadians come into this town every year, and not just our business, but all the businesses in this town rely on that income of that brings with the people that flood in from Canada, and I mean also other states. We're right in the corner, so we're on Vermont on the to the right of us, and then Canada to the north of us. So you're and not only that, there's a lot of Canadians that have homes in this neighborhood. They might not live here permanently, but
mm-hmm.
They do vacation here and camps and whatnot all around the area. So it's a community that's very intertwined, I think.
And is the discussion coming up like right now? When if a customer comes in who's from Canada, is this being brought up? Like, maybe tell me what you're seeing either vibe wise or commentary wise from the people that come in.
I mean, I'm always communicating with the customers that come in and talk, but if I'm being honest with you, a lot of customers, I think because politics is such a controversial issue, and I think the girls that came in and talked to me in the store the other day, I was telling them that one thing I do notice with people that come across is sometimes they're very wary of Americans and how they're going to be treated.
Uh-huh.
And, I don't want to, just specific point out one person, but I'm not going to name any names or anything. But I had a person that came in, and they just seemed very, like scared and like skittish a little bit. And I'm the type of person when I don't care what you are. I'm just going to, at the end of the day, I'm employed by the owners and I represent them and I represent their shop, and I'm going to treat everybody the same and equally and give everybody the same customer service. And I helped the guy out, and he went through, and I got him all situated what he was looking for, and he returned about 5 minutes later to just say thank you. And I had to ask him, like, what do you mean thank you?
Yeah.
You just came into the store and I just helped you out. It wasn't anything crazy, but he was like, I've had some bad experiences with Americans, and he goes, he was scared. He was scared is what he said.
Yeah.
And I was so taken back by that. And I was like, man, I'm not nobody to be scared of. Like, I felt so bad that's almost like the view of Americans outside of the country.
So, Shawn, let me ask you this. We're with Shawn Childrose, who lives and works in Rouses Point, just across the border in upstate New York. Shawn, I've talked to our listeners a lot about how we view our relationship with Americans, right? And there's been this long-standing idea that the United States and Canada are best friends. How do you view that relationship? How do you view the relationship that the United States has with Canada?
I mean, from my viewpoint, this is my opinion only. Living on a border town, I don't feel like we're best friends.
Why?
If there's a grocery store, just say there's a grocery store across the border, I can't go over there and grocery shop without having to go through a checkpoint, and sometimes those checkpoints are hours long. So now I'm forced to have to go to Plattsburgh, so to say, to do my, shopping for my family and my kids and whatnot. And not only that, if in Rouses Point, you go down a certain road, I mean, you step off the shoulder of the road, you're in Canada. Those people can't go across the road and have a barbecue with their neighbors. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, they literally can't walk out their back door, walk down their driveway or out their backyard, and go over to their neighbors and say hello without an international incident happening. And I just feel like what is left, out from a lot of the people is the people that live in these towns that live next to each other, and we can't even coexist together. Like, I can't just run over. Oh, I'm going to take my kids over to Park Safari for the day. Well, I can, but you got to wait in line. You got to show your help. We got to run your background checks. All this stuff. Like, I feel like that's like half of our community is cut off. I feel like almost.
And Shawn, do you worry about how the current tensions here, whether it's the trade stuff, the back and forth between the Canadian government, the U.S. government, our prime minister, and your president? Do you worry about how those tensions will affect your community and make what you just talked about even worse?
I mean, ultimately, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you guys saw, as well as Americans saw, the many stores in Canada taking American products off the shelves and putting signs up that say, take a look at Canadian products and whatnot and all this. And if that's the attitude that we're going to have towards each other, I mean, it doesn't look good for coexistence in the future. I mean, hopefully, we got to understand politics is a game played at a massively high level, like massively high. Like Donald Trump or Mr. President, which President Trump said what he said, in order to enact a reaction from the other world leaders, our neighbors, Mexico and Canada, and in turn, come to some kind of agreement where everybody, gets a little bit what they want and what they to progress to a better future, hopefully, but sometimes if things are said and come across a little dramatic. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? And, like, we're going to 20 on this, 20 on that. And it's like, oh my God, that's so ultimately it's probably not going to be the end result where we're going to settle at and whatnot. And I just think we really just need to coexist. We share, like I said, we share backyards, fields, farm fields. I mean, I could ride my bike to the border and throw a rock,
Listen,
like,
Shawn.
not even. I could almost touch it.
And I can sense the frustration, Shawn. Listen, just to wrap up here, with the Canadian stores removing U.S. products, any calls in Rouses Point to remove the Canadian stuff from your shelves?
Not a single, nothing, none of that. And actually, our store is one of the owners of our store, I believe, has dual citizenship. She's from Canada.
Gotcha.
And lives here. So from her, I think her parents live over there. So, our community is very, very intertwined with the Canadian community as well.
Shawn, listen, we're gonna
in all aspects, business, vacation spots, camps,
families, leisure. Everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Shawn, listen, we have to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your thoughts.
Yeah, man, you're so welcome. I appreciate you for having me.
Go say hi to Shawn Childrose over at the Rouses Point Liquor and Wine Store right there across the border in upstate New York.